The war had ended, but not in victory. Not really. After years of fighting across stars, burning cities on distant planets, and sending soldiers to die in places Earth had never heard of, humanity was tired. The Galactic Union, led by alien empires, far older and more advanced than Earth, offered a solution. Peace, but with a price. The treaty required Earth to send a human to marry into the royal family of Scifi, one of the most powerful alien kingdoms in the galaxy. They said it was tradition, a symbolic marriage to show unity. No one asked who the human would be. No one expected it to be someone like Leo. Leo was just a systems engineer. He fixed power cores, repaired old tech, and lived in a small apartment on Luna Station. He had no military background, no special title, no connection to the government. But the Saravel demanded someone who had never killed. Someone who carried no blood on their hands. A clean soul. Leo fit. He didn't even have a choice. A government agent came to his quarters one night, handed him a sealed file, and said, "For the peace of humanity, you will go. You will be honored and you will be silent." He left Earth. 2 days later, the royal city of Saravel floated above the clouds of a golden world. Its towers curved like ivory vines, lit by silver moons and soft amber skies. The palace itself looked alive, shaped from biometal that shimmered when touched. It was nothing like Earth. Leo stood in ceremonial robes, white, simple, strange, at the top of the Great Hall steps. The wedding was to begin. In front of him stood a tall, elegant figure wrapped in flowing crystal blue garments. She had pale skin with a soft purplish hue, small alien ears that curved slightly, and hair that looked like strands of starlight. Her name was Princess Thalixa, the youngest daughter of the Saravel Queen. She did not smile. She barely looked at him. A voice echoed across the hall in many languages, repeating the same lines again and again. By bond, by duty, by unity, Leo repeated the words. So did Thalixa. They were now husband and wife by interstellar law. The audience of nobles clapped softly, more out of formality than celebration. And then it was over. No kiss. No hand held, just silence. Hours later, Leo stood alone on a balcony, watching the moons rise. He didn't feel like a groom. He didn't feel like anything at all. Just a piece in a game. He hadn't spoken to Thalixa once. She had been surrounded by her guards and silent advisors. During the walk through the palace, he had noticed how cold the atmosphere was. Nobles whispered when they looked at him. Guards stared as if he was an intruder, and he couldn't even blame them. He didn't want this either. Soft voice interrupted his thoughts. "You are unhappy." Leo turned. Thalixa stood behind him, her hands folded in front of her. Her voice was gentle, but held no warmth. Her alien eyes, glowing faintly blue, studied him without emotion. "I didn't expect this," Leo replied, choosing his words carefully. "No one really asked what I wanted, nor did they ask me." Her tone didn't change, but Leo saw something shift in her expression, a brief sadness. Or perhaps regret. "They chose you because your heart is quiet," she said. "No hatred, no blood that matters to my people. I was just fixing wires, that's all I ever did." Thalixa stepped closer. "I know." There was a pause between them. Not cold, just unfamiliar. Two strangers forced into something bigger than themselves. "I don't blame you," Leo said finally. "I don't blame you either." She looked away toward the stars. "I have 5 older sisters, each one trained in statcraft, diplomacy, or war. I studied music and silence. I was never supposed to be part of this, so why you?" Thalixa looked back at him, and for the first time, her voice softened with real feeling. "Because I am the only one who can bear the bond." Leo blinked. "The bond?" She didn't answer. Not directly. Instead, she took a step forward and gently touched his hand. Her fingers were cold but delicate. A strange warmth pulsed in Leo's chest, like a small bell ringing deep inside him. Thalixa watched him closely. "You felt that, didn't you?" "Yes, what was that?" "You will know in time." Then she turned and began to walk away. Just before disappearing through the corridor, she paused. "I don't know what this will become, Leo, but for now, know this. You are not a prisoner here." She looked at him again. You're something much rarer. You are chosen. And then she was gone. Leo stood alone again, but this time he didn't feel quite the same. His heart was still heavy, but something in Thalexa's touch, something in her words had changed the air around him. This wasn't just a marriage. This was the beginning of something much bigger. He just didn't know what yet, but he was going to find out. Leo had been in the Saravel Palace for 5 days now. Each day passed slowly, filled with silence, strange customs, and the feeling of being watched. He was assigned a quiet room in the east wing, clean, beautiful, but cold. The walls glowed with soft blue light, and the air smelled faintly of sweet herbs. Robotic servants brought food at fixed times. No one spoke to him unless they had to, and the princess? She had vanished from his sight completely. Since their short conversation on the balcony the night of the wedding, Leo hadn't seen her once, but he hadn't forgotten her words. You're something much rarer. You are chosen. What did that even mean? One afternoon, while walking through the palace gardens, Leo found himself wandering too far. Tall, glowing plants surrounded him, bending gently as he passed. Strange flowers opened as if sensing his presence. He had never seen beauty like this, wild, alive, and almost magical. Then he heard it. Soft music. Following the sound, he reached a private section of the garden, blocked by a vine-covered arch. The music was coming from inside, a sound like wind chimes mixed with gentle humming. Leo stepped in quietly, and there she was. Princess Thalixa sat cross-legged under a glowing tree, playing a delicate instrument shaped like a spiral. The strings lit up as her fingers moved over them. Her long silver blue hair fell over her shoulders, and her eyes were closed. She looked peaceful, free. Leo didn't want to disturb her, but the moment he turned to leave, she spoke. You can stay. He froze. Sorry, I didn't mean to spy. You didn't, she said calmly, opening her eyes. You're the first person to find this place. Leo stepped closer, careful not to step on the floating petals that circled her. This is yours? She nodded. I come here to remember who I am. Leo sat down a few feet away, unsure what to say. The music stopped, but the silence between them was not uncomfortable this time. I thought you disappeared. Leo said after a moment. I needed space, Thalixa replied. I needed to know if I could face this bond. Do you regret it? Thalixa looked at him for a long time. No, I feared it, but not anymore. Leo tilted his head. You said something the other night, that I was chosen. That I could bear the bond? What does that mean? She looked away, fingers gently brushing the strings of her instrument. In my people's past, we had a gift, she said softly. A way to share our energy, our life force with another being, but only with someone whose spirit matched ours. We called it the life link. Leo listened carefully. Over time, that ability faded. Too many wars, too much loss. Only a few of us carry the old gift now. I was born with it, but it's unstable. If it grows uncontrolled, it can harm me or those around me. She paused, voice trembling slightly. When I turned 16, I nearly destroyed part of the palace by accident. They said I was dangerous. So the council decided I needed a bond, a living balance. Leo's heart sank. So they picked me to keep you stable? No, she said quickly. They searched many. You were the only one who reacted to the ancient signal. Leo blinked. What signal? Thalixa stood up and walked to a nearby stone pillar. With a wave of her hand, it opened to reveal an old artifact, a smooth, glowing crystal. This is called a heart core, she explained. It responds to certain souls. My people call it a guide. When they brought this near me, Leo said slowly, it lit up. Thalixa nodded. Brightly. More than anyone before you. Leo didn't know what to say. He had been chosen by something he didn't understand. He thought he was just a normal man. But here he was, sitting with a royal alien woman, talking about energy bonds and ancient gifts. He took a deep breath. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Thalixa walked over and sat beside him. You don't need to do anything, just be near me. Over time, the link will grow, I will gain control, and maybe you will change too. Leo looked at her. Is that why you were crying in the observatory? She looked surprised. then slowly nodded. Yes, I didn't want this to be a cage for you. I didn't want you to suffer because of me, Leo smiled a little. You're the first one here who's treated me like a person. Thalixa gave him a small smile back. You're more than a person, Leo, whether you believe it or not. The breeze passed through the garden. The petals danced. And for a moment, everything felt calm. Later that night, Leo lay in his bed, staring at the ceiling. He thought about the life link, the glowing crystal, the way her touch had pulsed through his body. He wasn't just some random human anymore. He was part of something deep, strange. Old Dot and Thalixa wasn't just a princess. She was a soul carrying a burden just like him. For the first time since arriving on this world, Leo didn't feel lost. He felt connected. The next morning, Leo woke up with a strange feeling in his chest. It wasn't pain. It wasn't fear either. It felt like a soft buzzing inside, like something was moving or waking up deep in his body. He sat up and looked at his hands. They looked normal. He pressed a hand to his chest. Still normal, but something had changed. After breakfast, Thalixa called for him. This time, she didn't send a guard or servant. She came to his door herself. I want to show you something, she sighed. They walked together through a hidden hallway in the palace. The walls were made of stone that shimmered in different colors as they passed. The path led them underground, below the royal towers and into an old chamber lit with floating crystals. Thalixa stopped at a round door made of silver and gold. This is the archive of bloodlines, she said. Only royals are allowed inside. Leo looked at her, confused. Then why bring me here? Because you're not just a guest anymore. She placed her hand on the door and it opened with a soft hum. Inside, the room was filled with tall stone pillars, each glowing with names and symbols. In the center, a large sphere floated above a circular platform. Leo stepped in, eyes wide. What is this place? It holds the history of every Saravel soul connected to our ancient bond, Thalixa explained, and one human name appears here. She stepped forward and waved her hand across the sphere. A glowing path formed and a name appeared. Larid the Silent Flame. Leo blinked. That looks like my name. It is a version of it, Thalixa said. Thousands of years ago, a human named Larid formed a lifelink with a Saravel queen. Together they ended a galactic war and united their people. He disappeared in history, but we remember him in legend. Leo stared at the glowing name. You think I'm connected to him? I believe his blood still flows in you, Thalixa said. It's rare, but sometimes human genes carry fragments from old bonds. That's why the heart core responded to you. Leo took a step back. I'm just a repair guy. I never asked for this, I know, she said gently. But something greater has chosen you. He looked at her, unsure. So, what happens to me now? Thalixa walked to the center and placed her hand on the sphere. A glowing image appeared, showing Laird and the Saravel Queen standing together, holding hands, light connecting their hearts. If your connection to me grows stronger, she said, you'll start to feel what I feel. You'll share my energy, my pain, my memories, and maybe even my power. Leo's heart skipped. Wait, I'll feel your thoughts? Not all of them, only deep emotions. It can be overwhelming. That's why most avoid this kind of bond. Leo ran a hand through his hair. So you're saying I'm slowly turning into something else? Not changing, she said, becoming more of what you already are. He stayed quiet for a moment, letting it all sink in. Then he asked, what if I fail? What if I can't carry this connection? Thalixa didn't look away. Then I'll lose control, and I might destroy everything around me. Later that day, the palace felt tense. Leo walked through the halls and noticed guards whispering. Nobles looked at him longer than usual. Even the servants seemed uneasy. Something was happening. That evening, while resting in the garden, an older servant named Rika approached him. She was quiet, kind, and always respectful. My lord, she said. In a low voice, you must be careful. Leo sat up. What do you mean? There are those in the court who do not trust you. They believe the princess should be bonded to someone of noble Saravel blood. Not a human, Leo frowned. But the bond already exists. They fear it. They fear what you might become. Leo stood up, heart heavy. Is someone planning to hurt her? Rika didn't answer directly. She looked around, then whispered, some would do anything to break the connection, even if it means ... removing you. Leo clenched his fists. Thank you, Rika. He hurried back to Felixa's chambers and found her sitting near the window. They're planning something, he told her. She looked at him calmly. I know. You do? Yes, I've heard whispers from my sisters. They believe you are dangerous. Leo shook his head. I never asked to be part of this. I know, she sighed. But now that you are, we must face it together. He sat beside her. What do we do? She turned to him. We survive. We grow the bond, and when the time comes, we show them what it really means. Leo took her hand, not out of duty, but out of something new. Something stronger. Trust. And for the first time, he saw it in her eyes too. That night, he dreamed. He saw fire, stars, a great battle in space. A queen standing tall with glowing eyes. And a human man beside her, his face familiar. The man looked at him and smiled. You carry more than my blood. You carry the spark of unity. Leo woke up, heart pounding. Everything was changing, and the storm was coming. The morning sky over the Saravel Palace was cloudy. A storm was forming, not just in the sky, but in the hearts of the people inside. Leo stood quietly at the edge of the royal hall. The council had called for a unity ceremony to celebrate the peace between Earth and the Saravel. It sounded nice on paper, but Thalixa had warned him it was just a trap. They want to test you, she had said, to see if you're weak or dangerous. The chamber was full. Alien nobles, high generals, and diplomats from several species lined the great walls. Their faces were proud, calm, but their eyes sharp. Watching Leo closely, Thalixa stood beside him, dressed in deep blue robes, her pale skin glowing softly. Under the hall lights, she looked calm, but Leo knew her well enough now to notice the tight grip of her fingers. You're not alone, she whispered to him. Leo nodded. Let's get through this. A tall Saravel elder stood and raised her hand. Let the bond demonstration begin. Two silver-robed assistants stepped forward, holding a glowing sphere between them. This device reads the lifelink energy, the elder said. If the human is truly bonded to our princess, the sphere will shine gold. Leo stepped forward with Thalixa. They placed their hands on the sphere. At first, nothing happened. The crowd began to murmur. Then light. Golden rays burst from the sphere, rising like a slow flame. The room fell silent. The elder stared at it, clearly shocked. This level of connection is unheard of. But not everyone looked impressed. From the far side of the hall, a noble general stood up. His voice was sharp and cold. This bond is dangerous. A human should not carry such power. It will bring ruin to our people. Others nodded. A few even stood with him. Thalixa stepped forward. He is not a threat. He is the reason I can stand here in control. You fear what you do not understand. The general raised a hand, and before anyone could react, he shouted a single command. Now! Suddenly, the lights in the hall flickered. Hidden guards rushed in from side entrances, their weapons aimed not at Thalixa, but at Leo. Panic spread through the room. Some nobles ran. Others froze. Thalixa moved fast, placing herself between Leo and the attackers. Get behind me, she yelled, but Leo didn't move, because something had changed. He could feel it, the warmth in his chest, now growing hotter. His skin tingled, and his heartbeat matched the rhythm of the energy flowing from Thalixa. His bond was awakening. As a blast shot toward them. Time slowed. Leo raised his hand. The energy inside him burst out, not as a weapon, but as a shield of golden light. The blast hit it and vanished. The crowd gasped. Leo blinked. Did I do that? Thalixa looked at him with wide eyes. Yes. More attackers charged, firing strange blue pulses. Leo moved without thinking. The golden shield shifted, bending to protect Thalixa. A blast passed near his arm, but instead of burning him, The energy wrapped around his skin and disappeared. His body was changing, matching Thalexa's energy. Together, they ran to the center of the hall. Thalixa raised her hand and sent a wave of light through the ground, knocking several attackers down. Leo reached for a fallen guard's staff, not knowing how to use it, but as his fingers closed around it, the weapon lit up with the same golden glow. He spun it instinctively, blocking another strike. "Leo!" Thalixa shouted. "Behind you!" Leo turned. A masked attacker was charging with a blade. Without thinking, Leo raised the staff and struck the ground. A shockwave of golden light exploded outward, throwing the attacker into the wall. Silence followed. All. The attackers lay defeated. The few nobles still standing looked stunned. The general who ordered the attack had vanished. Thalixa stepped beside Leo, placing her hand on his. "You did it," she whispered. Leo looked around the ruined hall. "No, we did it." After the battle, the palace went into lockdown. Only loyal guards were allowed near the royal family. Leo and Thalixa were taken to a private chamber where healers examined them. "You're fine," one of them said to Leo. Amazed. "No burns, no bruises. Your energy levels are rising." Leo sat on a bench, hands shaking slightly. "I don't understand. How did I do all that?" Thalixa knelt in front of him. "Because the bond has fully awakened," she said softly. "You're no longer just carrying my energy. You're becoming part of it, and it's becoming part of you." Leo looked into her eyes. "Am I still human?" She smiled gently. "You are, but now you're more than just that." He took a deep breath. "This bond, it's not a cage, it's not a chain." "No," she said. "It's a bridge." They sat together in silence, holding hands. The storm inside them had passed, but a larger one still waited outside. Leo knew now he wasn't just some random man forced into marriage. He was chosen, and he was ready to protect the one who had chosen him back. The halls of the palace were quiet after the attack, but the silence was not peaceful. It was heavy, tense, like the calm before another storm. Leo stood on the balcony outside his new chambers. Below, the city lights of Saravel flickered across the horizon. The stars above felt different now, as if they were watching him too. He wasn't the same man who had arrived here. Days ago, the bond with Thalixa had awakened something inside him, something strong, protective, and ancient. He had fought, he had survived. And more than that, he had belonged, but now, another problem had begun. Thalixa was called before the High Council. So was Leo. They sat at the center of a great circular chamber, surrounded by 13 robed counselors, powerful beings who had ruled Saravel for decades. An elder counselor spoke with a cold, sharp voice. "Princess Thalixa, after careful discussion, this council has decided your marriage to the human must be dissolved." Whispers filled the room. Leo's heart dropped. Thalixa stood calmly. "On what grounds?" "The bond is unstable," the elder said. "It's too powerful. The life link has not been seen at this strength in generations. And she pointed at Leo, is not one of us. He is not of noble blood. He has no place in our royal line." Thalexa's voice did not shake. "He saved my life." "That does not change tradition," another counselor stood. "We will assign you a new match, a noble from our own kind. One who can carry your bond in a safer way." Leo looked at Thalixa, waiting. She looked at the council and then at Leo. "No," she said. The chamber fell silent. "I will not break the bond. And I will not choose another," the elder counselor frowned. "You dare to defy the council?" "I do." Outside the chamber, chaos followed. Some nobles were furious, others were shocked. The people whispered. Rumors spread like fire. Many claimed Thalixa had been cursed by the human. Others believed she had lost her mind. But something unexpected began to happen too. The common people of Saravel, those who had seen Leo's actions in the hall, those who believed in peace with Earth, began to support them. For the first time, Saravel's royal walls echoed with voices of hope instead of fear. Later that night, Leo found Thalixa in the quiet observatory. She stood alone, looking at the stars. "They'll keep pushing," he said gently. "They won't stop until we're separated." "I know." Leo stepped beside her. "You don't have to keep fighting. I don't want to ruin your life." Thalixa turned to him. You're not ruining anything. You saved me, Leo, not just from the attack, from a life where I had no choice. He stayed silent for a moment. You said once that you were the youngest, the one never meant to rule, she nodded. And now I might have to. Leo looked at her with quiet strength. If they force you to pick between your people and me? Thalixa held his hand tightly. I already chose you. The next day, the council held another meeting, this time in front of the public. The hall was filled with nobles, warriors, and even common citizens. News had spread. People wanted to see what the youngest princes would do. Thalixa stood tall. Wearing her ceremonial robe, with Leo beside her, the elder counselor spoke again. Princess Thalixa, for the final time we ask that you break the bond with this human, accept a noble mate. Secure your place in the royal future. Thalixa looked at the crowd. Then she looked at Leo. No, she said, I will not. Gasps echoed around the room. Leo is not just my bonded one, he is my partner, my equal. And I will not stand beside anyone else. You risk your future, the elder warned. Thalixa stepped forward. Then I will build a new one. She turned to the people. Our past was full of division, but our future must be built with unity. The bond I share with Leo is not dangerous. It is a gift, and I choose to honor it. A long silence followed, then slowly, a few people clapped, then more dot and more dot. Soon the hall echoed with applause, not from the nobles, but from the people. Their voices filled the chamber with support. The council had no choice but to back down for now. That night, the palace guards surrounded Leo's room for extra protection, but inside it was quiet and warm. Thalixa sat beside him, barefoot, her royal robe replaced with something simple. She leaned on his shoulder. I've never spoken like that before, she whispered. You were perfect, Leo said. You were brave. I was afraid. Leo smiled. But you still chose me. I always will. They sat in silence, holding each other gently. Outside, the stars shone brighter than usual, as if the galaxy itself had taken notice. Leo knew the war wasn't over. Not yet. There were still enemies hiding in shadows. Still traditions trying to pull them apart, but now he understood something important. Power didn't come from blood or titles. It came from choice, and Thalixa had chosen him. The city of Saraval glowed under the twin moons, but peace was still far away. Even after the council backed down, danger remained. The noble families who hated the bond between Thalixa and Leo were now planning something darker, something final, late. At night, Thalixa received a hidden message from her older sister. A general in the outer fleets. The rebels are moving, the message said. They want to remove Leo and force your bond to break. They have gathered weapons and loyal soldiers. They plan to strike during the Star Union Festival tomorrow. Thalixa rushed to find Leo. She found him in the garden, where petals floated quietly over the glowing pond. He was sitting with his eyes closed, breathing slowly. Golden sparks shimmered faintly across his arms. You're learning fast, she said softly. Leo opened his eyes and smiled. I think your bond is teaching me better than any book. Her smile faded. We have a problem. She told him about the plan, the rebel nobles, the attack, the goal to kill him and stop the bond forever. Leo didn't panic. He stood up slowly. Then we face it, together. Thalixa touched his chest gently. You don't have to fight. I could hide you, protect you. He shook his head. No more hiding. If they fear me, then let them see me for who I truly am. The next day, the palace was full of lights and banners. The Star Union Festival was meant to celebrate the peace between worlds. The council stood on the high platform, with Thalixa and Leo beside them. Thousands of people gathered in the plaza. Children laughed, music played, and food stalls lined the marble paths. It looked like a celebration, but something felt off. Thalixa felt it too. Her heart was calm on the outside, but inside it raced. Suddenly, from the far side of the plaza, a loud blast echoed. Screams followed. A dark ship crashed through the palace gates. Armed rebels in black armor stormed the square. Protect the princess! Someone shouted. Guards rushed forward. But this time, Leo didn't run or hide. He stepped in front of Felixa. The golden bond flared around him, like a shield of light. The people gasped as he walked calmly into the open, raising one hand. A rebel fired. The energy bolt flew at Leo, but stopped mid-air, frozen in place by his golden aura. He gently lowered it to the ground. Gasps filled the plaza. One of the rebels screamed, "He's not human! He's a threat to us all!" Leo looked at him calmly. "I'm still human, but I carry something greater now, something born from love and peace, not war." The rebels hesitated, but their leader shouted, "End him!" More bolts flew. Thelixa stepped beside Leo, her hand glowing with blue fire. She sent a wave of light that knocked several rebels backward. Side by side, Leo and Thelixa stood as one. Their energies joined in a powerful golden blue light that covered the square. The people cheered as the rebels fell back, their weapons useless. Then, something strange happened. One rebel dropped his weapon and knelt. "I was wrong," he said. "They are bonded. They are stronger together." Others followed, surrendering. One by one, the council stood silent, stunned. Leo looked up at the platform. "You feared me," he said. "But today you saw the truth. This bond is not a weapon, it is a path, one that joins two worlds." Felixa stepped beside him. "From now on, I will not follow the old rules. I will create new ones with him by my side." The council held a private vote that evening. And for the first time in Saraval history, they named a human as co-ruler, not by force, not by fear, but by choice. Leo was offered a crown. He politely refused. "I don't need a crown," he said. "Just a place beside her." Weeks passed. Then months. Peace returned stronger than ever. Earth and Saraval grew closer. Trade, travel, and education between the two worlds increased. People began calling Leo the Lightbearer, title from old legend now reborn. Children on both planets learned about the human who bonded with a princess and helped save a kingdom without ever asking for power. And the story didn't end there. One quiet evening, Leo and Felixa walked hand in hand through the royal garden. Just like their first real meeting, she smiled softly. "Do you regret being brought here?" He looked at her and shook his head. "Not even for a second." She leaned against him. "I was afraid I'd be alone forever, that no one would understand me." Leo kissed her forehead gently. "You'll never be alone again." The wind moved through the trees. The stars blinked above them. And in that moment, two hearts from two worlds beat as one.